And that is the Deflecticon.
right there. Come on, Jay. Okay, hold on. You said, where's the man accountability? Well, when LeBron was having an argument with the guy on the sideline, the guy didn't get thrown out. They didn't get in a fight. The woman escalated, and guess what? They all got kicked out. I'm just giving you an example. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Listen. If you watch the video in Pennsylvania, the people were shooting. The woman kept escalating. She kept saying X, Y, Z. Now, I mean, they're both parties were wrong because, I mean, at the end of the day, the couple, when we look at the story, I'll be honest with you, I believe the couple who didn't get shot up were the ones who were aggressive and were saying the most stuff. You see, you have to understand, the quiet ones are usually the ones that you have to worry about. Dude didn't say much. He said what he had to say, but then he went in the house like, I'm done talking now. And he came back out and he rat-tat-tat-tat. But once again, when you say men take accountability, men always take accountability. Prime example, maybe we ain't said, but I talk about my homeboys. There's certain things you can't say to me that is going to escalate. Meaning that if I'm ever in an argument with a guy, don't refer me to your man area. Talking about, yo, suck my, whoa, because that you never invite a man to that place, because right there we gonna take it there, because whatever. You call me a B, okay, whatever, yeah, whatever. But you tell me that's like if I say to somebody, I'm ready to fight. I'm done talking. I'm taking it there for a reason. You understand what I'm saying?
Same thing for my mama.
Facts.
I can tell you stories about my mother. I can say what happened because I have to be honest. There is therapy out there, people, and some of these. Sometimes when you go to therapy, you have to confront harsh realities. But yeah, my mom is a trigger point for me. Why? Because I was trained as almost every black man was in the world to defend your mama. Right?
Right. Of course.
So I don't have to tell another man to not cross the line and say nothing about my mom. I can't even imagine a scenario where I don't plan on fighting somebody that I will bring this person's mom up in a negative manner.
Facts.
Or his wife. Or his kids.
Oh,
unless
right.
Unless I planned on getting into it with this person when I walked in the door. If I walked in with my masculine energy ready to go, I know how to start an argument. When I walk in and I want to argue with a girl or a woman, wife, girlfriend, whoever, bro, I felt like arguing, so I brought this to the table to argue. It's not hard. The accountability is knowing when to shut up, when to let it go. Sometimes when your wife is saying something that you don't want to hear, you learn how to say, yes, dear, when the opposite is what's actually going through your mind. But I'll say this when you say, what about men? Because I hate that statement. Just as a game that was taught to me, I mean, my mom said, mom said, it was, if you see somebody doing something like jumping off a bridge, what you gonna do? Jump off of it too? See, that's what it sounds like when it's like, what about men? Be better than men. Be better. Be the bigger person. The Bible tells you, treat people like you want to be treated, not the way people treat you, how you want to be treated. Mm-hmm. So don't justify your bad actions by stepping down to somebody else's level. So it's never wet about men. I can tell you what men do all the time. That's why 90% of the people in prison are men. That's why 90% of the people who die in war are men, because men are accountable for what they have to do. That's why what most men, when they get divorced, they end up paying child support. Okay, that's accountability. More men on child support than women are on child support. But if you actually look at the statistics of who is delinquent in child support, more women are deadbeat moms as a percentage than men. Okay? Accountability, don't do something bad because somebody else did something bad, but don't try to justify your actions because somebody else did something bad. That's childish. We're not doing that no more. I always say something about that.
You said you're spinning it.
You'll need to clarify. That's a pretty big statement.
Listen, if you want, hey Sherry, you want to call in? We can make this happen. You want to call in right now? We have the means and we do have the resources.
So if it's something specific, I would say this: if it's something specific, you've heard me speak, Sherry, specifically to you because you pretty much my audience. You've heard me speak on a number of topics a number of times. If it's something specific you want to say or chop up, you put it on the table. But I'm spinning it because it's a broad statement. I don't want to get personal and granular because I don't know exactly what you're asking or looking for. But if you think I can't get boringly detailed about something, I actually do this for fun, but it's important to me. We can get granular.
I was waiting to see if she respond.
Me too.
Because I was like, I'll give you the numbers you can call in right now.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, all of it. What are men held accountable for? What aren't we accountable for?
But my thing is this too. How come if there's any debate that men have or gripe we have, why do you have to always spin it back to what about the man? What about the man? Because we have conversations all the time. And I never said, hey man, what about the women?
Exactly. Oh man, my car insurance is 29% higher than a woman's car insurance in the same zip code in the same neighborhood, and we drive similar vehicles. Why is she paying the same amount? No, it's because men have more accidents than women. We speed more than women, so we tend to get more tickets than women, and our car insurance is higher because we do more stupid things. That's accountability. We do pay for our mistakes. It's too big.
Hey, so Sherry, I sent you my number in your DM. Yeah, I slid her DM, y'all. And I gave him number. Yeah, I got it on record too. I remember you saying on this call. But yeah, if you want to call in, it's calling right now. Just call a number and we can choose. You might put your headphone on. She call in, put your headset on. She can hear her, ask her question or whatever. Set the Dutch out.
Oh, my headset over there?
Yeah.
Okay, well.
If she call in. But I did see the number, so hold on 1 second. You good. Because I definitely want to hear her perspective.
Yeah, I mean, we were going to wrap up and go to another one, but now we're in overtime, boys and girls.
Hey, this is the pregame before the actual game tonight. For anybody who's watching. Oh, she's calling. Hold on. Hope that's her. Hello? Oh no, that's might be one of them people, bill collectors, or
you need to extend your car.
You ain't to extend your warranty. Oh man, I'm getting tired of that. Wasn't her because it was a Florida number. I got excited. Dude, I thought it was her.
Dude, them folks.
Oh, is it? Hold on, come back and get them and make sure. Hold on. Hello.
Yeah.
Mic check. Hold on. Hello.
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay. All right, hold on. Okay, we got you. Hold on 1 second. Let me see, get you. 1 more second. Hold on. Oh, that's why I hate mute. Say something now.
I said y'all hung up on me before I could even say anything.
No, that's my fault because. Hold on. And what you doing with a Florida number?
I went to college in Florida.
Oh, okay. Hey, that's what's up. My bad. It threw me off because I know you in New York. I'm like, hold up.
Bro, how you gonna give away a personal?
I know. That's my fault. Hey, Sherry, welcome to the call. We appreciate you having, and we definitely want to hear your thoughts process so we can have a good dialogue here, a healthy one for the people listening.
Okay. So I was saying, so the whole question about is it feminine to interject? And the question I had said to Dwayne earlier was, why does that have to do with femininity? It has to do with appropriateness, right? Like, if two people are arguing and it don't really have anything to do with me, as long as y'all are not like, about to mash the house up, I'm not going to get in that, whether it's a female or a male, right? If it's not escalated to that point where it has to be diffused, then of course, whoever it is shouldn't involve themselves. I don't really understand how it becomes a thing about feminine or masculine. Now, in the sense of escalating the situation in the video that you're talking about with the people that end up getting killed from the neighbor,
yeah.
that clearly looked like that was an ongoing thing. And yeah, she probably, well, you know, she was selling out. She was like, you ain't gonna do nothing, blah, blah, blah. Go ahead, do it. Because she really didn't think he was about that life. And she learned the hard way, right? Which is unfortunate for her and her husband.
Facts.
So I get in those situations again, it was inappropriate for the whole thing. And so when I said about, where's the accountability in the men? Just, you know, you guys have listened to a couple of these different shows, and it's not about sitting it just to say like, oh, what about you guys do it too? No, I was saying from the start it was wrong, right? So sometimes it has to be accountable from the beginning that what even just the argument between the men is wrong, right? And so to say, yeah, the woman should have interjected, but there's nothing in all the, I'm sure if you have a definition for masculine, nothing in there speaks to arguing with another man. That's not masculine, right? So how can we then say a woman interjecting is not feminine when a man arguing with another man is not masculine to begin with, right? So how do you even interject those terms is, I guess, what I struggle to understand, like, the relationship. I get it's being inappropriate. I get that. And I agree with you, gentlemen. I just don't see it as a feminine and masculine thing. I think the whole scenario is just inappropriate.
Okay. All right. Hi, Sherry. All right. Let's go back to one of the first statements I said in this particular live stream. Masculine energy, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not that you interjected yourself, even though you shouldn't. But there's a way to interject yourself that would have diffused it, which we would have called feminine energy. She could have tried to calm it down. But when you throw fire on it, I will do this to you and you can do this to and suck my XYZ, right? That was a distinctly masculine output from you, right?
Or emotional.
Same. I don't care. Emotional, because that emotional response has gotten a lot of people hurt also.
I agree. I agree with you.
So I agree with that. So when you say that it's not feminine, when you as a woman throw your masculine energy out, because truthfully, you should have a small amount. If you're a feminine woman, you should actually have a very small amount of masculine energy to throw around in the first place. You agree or disagree?
Okay. Come on now.
This is yes or no question.
You guys heard me talk a little bit because I don't necessarily agree with what you consider masculine and feminine. So that already there is problematic. Okay. So that's why I don't have a yes or no answer. But I hear what you're saying.
Okay. Well, same thing. So if I had a whole lot of feminine energy to throw out for whatever reason, eventually it will start showing through in my everyday actions. It'll show through in how I walk up to another dude, maybe and, hey, dude, and instead of pat him on the back, maybe I'll slowly run my hand down the back of his arm.
Pause.
I'm just saying. I'm saying that's it. But that's that feminine. If you have that energy flowing through you so hot that you felt confident interjecting yourself in an argument with LeBron James, you think that masculine energy isn't present throughout your entire day and everything you do.
So okay, in that situation, I think that was several things. I think that was white privilege. I think that was financial as well. Like, I'm this and my man is this. So I think I can talk to you because you are just a basketball player. You are here to entertain me. So I can talk to LeBron any way I want to. And I don't think that, I'm not saying that I don't agree with you that it wasn't inappropriate. No. I think the lesser of the things that were involved in that had to do with masculine or feminine. It really had to do with, like, I can do this because I'm better than you.
Okay.
That's what I think was driving that interaction. But I agree with you gentlemen about what you're saying. I just don't agree about the masculine and feminine part. That, to me, because if you want to know the truth of it, right? A lot of times when men are getting into these arguments, it's not masculine energy. It's insecurity.
It is not. It's so much feminine energy
insecurity.
That is ridiculous.
It's not even feminine energy, because feminine energy is not insecurity. Feminine energy is not weak. Feminine energy actually is a lot of strength behind real feminine energy. It doesn't mean physical strength, but it's just the strength in being a woman, right? And men, when they're getting into these arguments, that a lot of times is driven purely by insecurity and ego. Mm-hmm. And so that's not feminine energy or masculine energy, that's insecurity, right? And so to make it about gender or gender energy is what I'm saying I disagree with. But I agree with the whole point about both women were wrong. They were 100% dead wrong. But I don't think that was driven by their femininity. That was just that was inappropriateness.
I respect what you're
saying. Out of orderness, right?
But out of order.
Yeah.
So hold on. So when you say out of order, explain what the order looks like. What is order?
Oh, good question.
In both situations, right? So they're a little different, but they're kind of the same. So in the situation with LeBron, you're out of order just for even interacting and talking to someone like that, right? She was out of pocket for that, period. That could have been if she was talking to LeBron, or if she was talking to her husband, or if she was talking to the person who comes around with the drink. She would have been out of order for the way that she was talking to someone. Period.
Hold on a second. You said LeBron was wrong for what?
No, I said she was wrong.
She was wrong. Okay.
For the way she was speaking to LeBron, right?
Right.
And I said whether it was LeBron or whether it was her husband or whether it was the person that came around with the drink, if she was speaking to them in that manner, she is wrong. She's out of order.
Okay.
Because there's a way that you carry yourself, period. And that's whether you're a man or a woman, you talk to people with respect. You treat people with respect. Yes, you're at a basketball game and you have an opposing team or whatever, so you might be like boo or whatever the normalized behavior is for when you're going at an opposing player. But she was out of order. She went too far, right? And she got crazy because she got upset because LeBron met her disrespect. You know what I'm saying? He met the disrespect with more disrespect.
Okay.
So yes, then she was upset that she got put out, but she was put out because she was out of order. Just like when Spike Lee has been put out of games because he really has gone too far.
Okay, let me ask you a few questions, just to clarify,
because
I'm going to stay on the topic of masculine energy here because I do feel that there's a blurring of the line between masculine and feminine energies. And I'll give you as anecdotal evidence. Today, there was an article online that China is introducing masculine education to its male population because China, as a communist government, feels that the men have become too effeminized. This is on CNN. You should be able to find it on CNN or Huffington Post, one of the two. But let me ask a question. So, do you feel like in any kind of situation where violence could occur, who is most likely to be the first person to verbally instigate violence against another person, male or female?
Man.
Okay. And if I was to get belligerent and raise my voice, who should actually be the most belligerent person in any situation in the first place?
Who should be the most belligerent?
Yeah. In your mind, male or female, who should be the most belligerent person? Not saying it's right, just saying who would you think would do that first?
It depends.
No.
Because I think no. I mean, the reality is the same way that you said you grew up in the hood. I grew up and I still live in the hood. At the end of the day, and I grew up seeing women fight. I grew up seeing men fight. It's not. I'm not deflecting. I guess I'm saying is I can't generalize it to a man.
Let me simplify it for you. Because women, and I'm saying this as a blanket statement. I'm sorry if it offends anybody. We have allowed you as men, and I'm straight up going to own it from a chauvinistic standpoint. We have allowed you as a man we have allowed women to blur the line between what is and what isn't there in their place, their thing, their area of responsibility. We've done that. So women have equal rights to do everything we do. Y'all still want equality, but the truth of the matter is, talking yang to LeBron James and not getting knocked out that's a lot more than equality, because no dude could have said what she said and walked away with just being kicked out of the stadium. I've seen basketball players knock fans out in the stands. They will throw blows. So for him not to even think about knocking her head clean off her shoulders, that's a gift. That's not equality. That's like
that's not a gift or equality. That is common sense. That's common sense.
See, that's it. Women, there's a disconnect growing between men and women, because women like to use 1,000 words to explain one sentence. Okay? When I'm not here, I'm articulate sometimes. So I'm willing to have this conversation with you. Most men aren't. Most men can't verbalize what they're saying. So the point being is that when we see this display of masculine energy, I don't want to go home and talk to you for 3 hours about what I found inappropriate about your actions. I'll just stop talking to you. I'll go out and just find someone else who gets it without me having to explain it. So do men find it feminine that if my woman stands up and defends me? I'll give you an example. If I'm out at a restaurant and let's say I order a Coke and I get a Sprite, you know what? In the back of my mind, my doctor told me to stop drinking dark sodas anyway. I actually was supposed to have ordered a Sprite, right? If my girl confronts the waiter, he ordered a Coke and you got it, and if she stands up and does that, I'd get up and walk out the restaurant, because it wasn't her place to defend me. I can tell if I really wanted the Coke, I would have gotten the Coke. But you don't know what's going through my mind, but I dang on sure as a man do not need you to cape for me if I'm supposed to be the man that I think I'm supposed to be. So that's the problem. There's always an explanation. Well, here and this is it. Listen, men do not communicate like that. Too many words to say something like, you should have hushed. Don't cape for me. Help me, defend me, but in the street, I don't care if I'm broke at a restaurant and I need you to give me $100 before we go into the restaurant so I can pay for dinner and feel like a man. Don't be like, don't sit at the table and be like, you know what? Here, I'm gonna order extra because I know you ain't got no money. You're right. You got me right there. You couldn't hold in. You couldn't stand your feminine. You had to prove you were just as strong and hard as I was. Cool. And then I'll just ghost. I could argue with you. I would argue with you because that's my personality. But most men will find that a disrespectful attack on their masculinity. You will have fallen out of your femininity, and they
that's
just
ego.
ghost. Yes.
What you just described was ego, and that's not masculine. That's insecurity.
What do you mean?
And that's what I think. A lot of times the lines are blurred around what is insecurity and ego, and what's masculine and feminine. And the reality is that a woman, I'm not saying that you guys have said this plain out, but some of what you have hinted at is that femininity is equal to being demure, to being quiet, to being in a woman's place. And that is very chauvinistic, what you said. It is absolutely chauvinistic. And
I said
I said you didn't. I said you never.
We said those things. So we're not even arguing that. We agree with you.
No, I'm saying that you didn't say it. I didn't hear you say those specific words to describe femininity. I'm not putting words in your mouth.
Time out. I want you to keep going, but I want you to confirm. I am chauvinistic. I wasn't chauvinistic until I realized that what you want and what's reality is different. Chauvinism, I am egotistical. You think men aren't egotistical? You think
I didn't say that.
No. I want to say this. You think men built the Empire State Building Why do you think skyscrapers keep going higher and higher? Because some egotistical ass man wants to have the tallest building. Why do you think sports cars are getting faster and faster? Because some egotistical ass man wants to drive the fastest car. Men are driven by ego. So putting that in a negative connotation.
I never said it was. I never said it was negative.
Even insecurity.
I said no. Let me explain what I said.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
What I said was that a lot of times what's being confused sometimes as what's masculine versus feminine is really insecurity and ego is what I said. I didn't say that there was negative or positive to it. What I'm saying is that yes, I agree. I agree with you that a lot of men are driven by ego, right? But a lot of these things that you're describing, even last week or a couple of days ago when we were having the conversation about a different topic, but we got on this kind of similar topic, is that there's a certain look of what masculinity is and there's a certain look of what femininity is. And that in itself is problematic, right? Especially when those things that surround it are driven by ego and insecurity. So if your response of what is masculine or how a woman should behave is based on your insecurity, then you're going to always run into problems with women because you're going to look at it through the lens of your insecurity. If you are a man, and what you guys described as the 3 Ps, I think it was last time. See, I'll be listening.
Okay.
Is the tip of the iceberg, right? Because of and I challenged Dwayne on this a little earlier in the week, which is why do men feel that they get to define what femininity is? But women cannot define what manhood or masculinity is, because that's a whole nother subject, but it ties into this point right here.
Okay.
If these things are considered feminine or not because of how it makes a man seem or makes a man feel, that is insecurity. A real man or a true man would not care about how it seems. It's what works for you and how you communicate with the woman that is in the relationship with you, what that partnership is built like. It may look different than what Dwayne's partnership looks like with his wife, because that's his relationship. And what's considered masculine or manhood in his relationship may not be the same thing for you. Of course, there are going to be a lot of overlapping things, but we can't make blanket statements around what's masculine and what's feminine. And that's my only point. And saying that a lot of times what we're saying is feminine really is insecurity on a man's part. That's all.
Okay. Okay. I really want to bite the bullet on this insecurity thing because I like that word. Most men are insecure.
Facts.
Some men.
No.
And it could be most. I don't know. I'm not a man. So
exactly. And I'm going to tell you because here's something that me and Twins had to talk about a lot. We've understood this. I don't think a lot of women take it into account far enough, though. Men and women are different. Mm-hmm. That blanket statement is important. See, women, I'm going to say this, insecurities. Women have us thinking that insecurities are bad. No, they're not. Insecurities for men in relationships specifically is why we do most things. Do you think men created washing machines and stoves and stuff like that, refrigerators and all that? You think we wouldn't have mass produced that if it wasn't in our best interest? And I'm gonna tell you why. Mm-hmm. When you have to go, men, honestly, all men are insecure. If you're even a reasonably attractive woman, 100%, you probably get offers all the time for your attention. Yes or no? Yes. And that's reasonably attractive. That ain't got nothing to do with you being if you were a beauty queen, gosh darn it. But men insecure, I can give you anecdotal evidence personally, but men are very insecure. You know why men do what they do to try to keep their women happy? Because they don't want her to leave. All right?
Okay.
We are insecure about that. And because y'all. So when it comes to ego, we build things that we like that makes us look good just to keep women's attention to us. Okay, if it wasn't in my best interest to make six figures, I wouldn't even try. I mean, really, how much do you think my light bill is? How much you think my Xbox costs? I don't need to make the money I make to have an Xbox and having a 1-bedroom apartment. I do that to attract women. And when I can attract women, I try harder. You know what I'm saying? But my insecurity gives me motivation. And my ego is what I've accomplished. My insecurity is pushing me to accomplish something. Okay? So when you say it's ego, no. Men and women are different. I don't know how women perceive ego. But when I make $100K a year and I can take my girl to Aruba or Puerto Rico or back to Africa, that's an accomplishment I got. But my ego does not need my wife or girlfriend saying, that ain't nothing. I can do that myself. That's competition. That's an attack on my ego. So yes, men and women are different. The words you're using are perfect words, but you're trying to see it from a woman's point of view. You're totally missing the male's point of view because you can't see it. That's why
which is my point. So you are that's proving my point as to then that's the question that I posed to early in the week, which was how can then a man speak to what a woman should be and how they should are and what drives a female, because you're not a woman. And so you can speak from a man's perspective and give a man's perspective about what femininity looks like from a man's point of view, but you cannot definitively say that because you're not a woman. So what we're discussing is a man's perspective of that thing. And I know that that you put up the survey on Instagram, and a lot of women, I'm sure they're going to agree, because on the face of it, yeah, you don't agree that you should jump into it. Whether or not it comes down to feminine or masculine, I think that's where it starts to get blurred.
I'll say one quick thing. Okay, question I have then: is it feminine for a woman to spit?
Oh, whoa, what?
Hold on, no, I'm talking about. Is it feminine for a woman to spit?
I didn't see that coming.
Hold on, it's a simple question: is it feminine for women to spit? Sure.
I'm here.
I mean, what? That should be easy. Yes or no? Should women walk around going?
No.
Yeah, what's up,
bro? It's not an easy yes or no because I think it's gross, right?
Well, hold on. And so why is it so hard to answer that?
All people do it. But I know. You do it.
I think it's gross.
Okay, so the answer is
or a woman to do it.
Yes or no? Is it feminine?
My answer is the same answer that I gave at the beginning of this, which is it's not a question of feminine or masculine. It's nasty.
Come on, man.
See, hold on.
See, because what your definition of feminine sounds very and he admitted it. It's very chauvinistic. It's very one-sided, and it makes women very one-dimensional, which is unfair. It is. You're saying that a woman... Wait.
I love what you're saying. Hold that, because I want to have another conversation later. We need to start off a whole hour with that. That one-dimensionality, because that's going to be... I want to do a podcast on that one-dimensionality, because you're not going to like it, but that's what's happening. I'm sorry, I hate to break, but I don't even want to hear that right now because I want to hear it later.
Listen, the reason why we men have these things that we want from a woman, because that's what we want. I want a woman who's feminine. I want a woman who doesn't spit. I want a woman who doesn't speak over me when I'm talking to other men.
Yeah, doggone show don't want a woman
just like
barking at somebody that I gotta fight.
Just like a woman wants a man who's able to protect her, who opened the door for her protector, leader, right? Those are things that you want. You don't want a man who don't open the door for you or baby, hear that? I don't know. You check it. Okay. No. So those are feminine. So those feminine traits that I say, those are things that men want. Men want all those. Do your own personal survey. Ask a man. Just ask a man. Hey,
I agree with you.
Do you want a woman who talks over you when you have an argument with other people?
Agree.
Nobody know.
I agree that all those things that you said is true. I agree with you.
Okay, here comes the but.
I guess the only it's not a but, because everything before but is BS, right? And I agree with you. And I think I agree with you.
And
the concern though is around what you gentlemen define as feminine and masculine. That is my only point.
Yeah, that might be
that a lot of times, and I'm cool with that. I'm just saying because I think a lot of times what's happening is you gentlemen are describing things, and of course you want these things, but to say that this is the box of femininity is very one dimensional. Okay. It does not include that women are not all the same. Just like I wouldn't say me, and I know a lot of women that, and I'm a woman, so I can better speak to this, that would not say, oh, because a man doesn't have this, that doesn't mean he's not a masculine man because he doesn't have. That's all men and the way men think. Women, do we want that? Of course. Who doesn't want someone that can provide and make life a little bit easier or all those things? But do we define your masculinity versus based on what you have? No, that is a male way of thinking. So a lot of things that you were saying are from a man's perspective of what masculinity is and a male's perspective of what femininity is. And it doesn't mean that a woman is going to agree with those things. That's the reason that we're different. You said a lot of things we get at the beginning, like, oh, a lot of women's things are out of control, and, women's emotions are out of control. They can't control it. And that's my reason I said, but a lot of those contacts between men and men that end up deadly goes between men. So what does that have to do with feminine energy? That has nothing to do with feminine energy. That has to deal with people who are not able to manage their emotions. Insecurity drives why men kill men. Ego is the reason behind why men kill men. And I just don't want us to confuse masculinity and femininity with ego and insecurity. Those to me are very different things. That's it. The end.
Okay. I won't.
I know you don't agree.
No, and I do not. Here's the thing. I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I do. That's the bad part, is that we are so close to being in agreement, but it's the part that's a roadblock is not. It's insurmountable. Okay, so you're right. If ego and insecurities, once again. My ex girlfriend at one point back in the day, she played me for a sucker so bad. Why you want to go through my phone? You ain't secure. She used the word insecurity as a weapon. I fell for a hook, line, and sinker. She couldn't be trusted to walk out the front door. Okay, but she played me for a sucker. She called my manhood into account, and in my need to defend my manhood, I let this bimbo get away with ridiculousness, right? She was not the only woman that did it, because doing this particular podcast and talking to other people, I've learned some harsh lessons. So when you're saying with the ego and the man, women's egos is just as big as men's. Agreed. But y'all, I say this as a chauvinistic man, but y'all use y'all powers for evil, and and the same for your insecurities. Women are just as insecure as men. Men are very insecure. If my girl, I'm gonna say something, I hope I don't offend, but like if my girl put on some tights and she got a fat little camel toe showing, she's taking that off. All right. I don't care if it's insecure or not, baby. I'm with you. I don't care if the mother men look; they know I'm with you. Girl, please, you advertising for the next man because I know I'm just visiting. No. Insecurity makes us do the stuff we do. Insecurity makes us provide for you. Insecurity makes us come home at night just to make sure you at home. Because I could always go hang out with my boys and get something to drink and get something to eat and play video games all night. I came home, baby, because you was at home, and I don't want you to start feeling like I don't love you. Insecurity is where I don't want you to feel like you not getting something at home and start looking for it in the street. So I just want to put that out there. Whatever the definition between insecurities for men and women, totally different. And if you try to put them on the same level, unfortunately, once again, women's egos, in my opinion. Y'all love the fact that a dude's insecurity got him catering to y'all, but that same catering to you dude gets termed a nice guy, and you cheat on him with another dude who is not catering to your insecurities or whatever. You have the same thing we do. My opinion is that you use your powers for evil. So you guys are supervillains. We're the
Supervillains.
and we're the heroes here. We're the Avengers here.
Hilarious. Supervillains. Hilarious.
I'm sorry. That was silly.
I like that.
Listen, I think we could probably go on and on with this topic. I think we should wrap it up. In my opinion.
Yeah, I bust the blood vessel in my head right there.
Sherry, do you have any last comments you want to put out there before we, let you go and we wrap the show up?
No, that was it. My only point is that I think I said it a couple of times that women are more than just that definition of femininity. That we are not such one-sided, one-dimensional creatures. We have multi-dimensions to us, just like men do, and so we don't want to be put in a box of what is considered womanly or feminine. Just as a man that wouldn't want us to dictate what for them is masculine or manly. So that's it. That's my last part word.
Okay, I just want to say this: the reason why the men demand certain things from women and what they want from women is because we the one to marry you. So we pick and choose. Y'all don't pick and choose us. So that's one thing I want to make very clear, the difference between men and women and why we demand and what we want from a woman, because we're the one that marry you. You don't marry us. You agree to be with us, but I'm the one buying the ring and risking everything to be with you. So that's why that matters for the man. That's why the man can say what he wants from a woman and what he expects from his woman, because as the man, we choose you. Just because that's a fact right there. That's not even an opinion. That's a straight fact.
I thought we was wrapping up.
It's not just for her. It's for any people listening.
Let me help you out with the language. Let me help you out with the language. The Bible says when a man finds a wife.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
When a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing, right? Mm-hmm. So you didn't choose, you found. Okay. And when you found, it was a good thing because it enhances your life. The right woman will enhance your life, will make it better. Right. So if you shouldn't even be going through all that other stuff when you find the right one, because the right one, that's this conversation that you're having, you wouldn't even have to have. Because the one for you will understand and compliment you in that way. So you wouldn't even have to go through none of this.
Listen, you're right. The man defines a woman, yes. But after we find a woman, we still got to make sure she meets all the requirements. And then after she meets the requirements, then we choose.
Meet the requirements.
Okay.
You know what?
Listen. If she spits, and I'm talking about outside spitting, no. See, I thought I found her, and then she started... Yeah, no, I got to try this again.
Let's bring it up from the biological portion. No, real talk though. The Bible does say when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. The problem is the other part of that interpretation is that she was already wife material when you found her.
Amen.
So if you wait to become wife material after we get married, why would we bother marrying you because you weren't a wife? I said that to say from a statistical standpoint, 74% of black women will never get married. This black women.
It is black women's fault?
Yeah, this is black demographic.
No, I'm asking who that's black woman's fault?
I'm sorry?
Is
that a black woman's fault?
Is that a woman's fault?
Well, once again.
I mean, you got to take accountability.
Wait. I know. But
I'm sorry.
saying that women used to, once again, masculine energy. Women didn't used to have this much masculine energy. In the 60s, in 1968, 80% of black women could expect to be married in their lifetime. This is 65s, okay? In 2017, only 24% of black women can be expect to get married in their lifetime. Okay, so that you don't drop.
What happened?
You don't drop.
What happened? What happened?
What happened?
That's me another show.
Yo, we already did that show.
I know, right?
What happened with the women's rights?
Oh, I missed it. You got to let me know which one it was.
The women's rights movement happened. along with the equal rights the equal rights movement. All right, and the government started funding black communities and providing home care and cash payments, basically, and food stamps. So in less than 60 years, black people specifically went from an 80% marriage rate down to a 24% marriage rate. That and there are, please, there's a lady called Scheherazade Ali. Check her. You can check her out on YouTube if you find. I'm actually trying to find her book because I can't find it in any stores and I can't order it offline.
Yeah, you know why? It's the reason why.
But Scheherazade Ali is a lot of the stuff that I'm saying that might offend you a little bit. This is Scheherazade Ali is a Muslim writer. She wrote this book in 1989. I'm sorry. So Scheherazade Ali. But the point being is that if only 24, this is why I wanted you to hold the one-dimensional thing, because I really think we should roll right into the next podcast on that one. Because women in a lot of states have simplified themselves down to one dimension. Okay? We no longer and in that one dimension, once again, why would I marry somebody? I used to get married at an 80% rate. Now I'm married.
Where's the male accountability in that? I haven't heard you mention any accountability of a man.
What? Huh?
I'm gonna find the show. I'm gonna tell you in a second what show it is.
But when you said what male accountability? What male accountability?
Yes, when you mentioned the reasons, you didn't mention anything that had to do with the male accountability. You blamed it squarely on the shoulders of a woman who cannot break up a marriage by herself.
Women in 1980, a law was passed. It first started in California. It went nationwide. It was called no-fault divorce. At that point, the marriage rate almost tripled because women can now walk away from marriages for no reason. You can decide you're not happy and walk away. It's called no-fault divorce. Second thing that happened, when you do get a divorce, the marriage laws set it up so that you get possibly alimony and spousal support. Correct? Women get 95%. Women as a whole, period, across the board, get 95% of spousal support. So they get that's considered a prize. You get cash for leaving a marriage. So that happened. And
welfare.
I don't even got the welfare. Children. Okay, women get custody of the children 95% of the time. If you get custody of the children at the end of a relationship, you get cash payments from a father to their mother for the maintenance of that child. It doesn't have to be a lot, but that's an income stream. So when you say where's the accountability for men?
Yes.
Men.
I've heard it.
Oh, wait, and let me. I won't put that. I said this earlier in the broadcast. Also, more women don't pay child support than men as a percentage. More men are on child support than women, but as a percentage number, more women default on actually paying child support the few times they have to than the same percentage of men. Most men are not deadbeat fathers. More women are deadbeat moms. But the accountability for men, what accountability do you want? Black men specifically spend more time with their children than white people, than Asian people, and Hispanic people. Black men are considered the best.
That's not really the what I'm saying is. So you're saying that women can walk away from marriages and things, right?
And get cash and prizes.
So, again, most people would rather be in a relationship. So if we're going to talk about like how relationships work, most relationships that I am aware of, I can't speak for all. None of us can speak for all.
Yes,
but women typically are the ones who are trying to keep the relationship together.
Women leave 85% of all relationships are broken by women.
But listen to what I'm saying. But listen to why. Where you're skipping past. Listen, you're skipping past. You can quote data but you're not acknowledging the reasons why. And a lot of times the reasons why is because there's some sort of breakdown in the communication on the part of the male, right? It's not that women wake up and say, oh, you know what, I can leave this and be richer, because people want companionship. So let's be clear about that. People don't want to leave relationships so they can have money. They much rather have a companionship with the money, okay? So we can't just say, oh, women leave the relationships and not acknowledge the fact of why these women are leaving the relationships with these men at such a high rate. So there has to be an accountability part on the male.
Wait a minute, Sherry. We've been on a very valid, because the goalposts have moved way far from where we started, so we're not on the same topic.
Right.
Are you seriously gonna tell me, real talk, that there had to be something? Because I'm quoting statistics. I'm quoting something you can get off the phone with me and look at real numbers that's people way smarter than me put together from various sources, okay?
I'm going to tell you why.
Wait. No. Mm-hmm. So women walk away from Sherry. Are you cute?
Yes.
Okay.
You know why? Why I'm going to say that with such confidence?
Why?
Because I do this every single day for a living. Okay. That's what I do.
Where are you at?
So what I'm saying is that I'm not speaking from out of my butt, right? I'm saying that this is what I do every single day. I've done it for the last 11 years of my life. Okay. So I'm speaking from a very solid place as far as social work. Yeah.
Social work.
Yeah.
Called it. Okay.
And so
that you know the statistics better than anybody, but you're also a woman. You do realize that women cause
no, because you didn't let me finish. I was gonna say something. I was gonna say something very important. What I did learn in my social work experience is that the stereotypes around Black fathers is not true, right? So I am not a person that subscribes to that when it comes to Black fathers and their involvement with their children. I have seen how the system has caused men to be absent when they are absent. That it's not just because they don't want to be. There are some men who are absolute deadbeats and they're worthless people, but the vast majority is circumstance, and there's other things that play into that. So that part, 1,000%, I can say I agree with. Okay. But what I also have seen time and time again of why women are leaving relationships is when they have multiple children with men and all of those things, is because there is some sort of a breakdown in the way that the relationship works. Sometimes it's the woman, but more times than not, it's the part of the man. And as far as why this is happening even more so now, 100% believe that it is due to social media.
Oh,
social media has made that everything like right at your fingertips, right? Mm-hmm. And also, integration has played a drastic part in why the numbers decreased from 80% to the 20s. Because before I didn't have access to all these different women, and now I can. Now I can marry white women. Now I can marry Asian women. Now I can be with these different type of women. So now Black women are not only competing against other Black women in their same, age group or area. They're competing with women from all ethnic groups and all across the world, because social media.
Right?
See,
that's a small percentage of Black men marrying outside their relationship.
I'm not saying about that. I'm saying about why we're talking about why people aren't getting married. No. Because there's too much access. There's too much access. No, it's hard to convince. And you guys are men, right? But I can't speak for men, but I can say from just experience of talking to some guys that. It's hard to settle down because there's so much access, especially if you are a certain type of guy. One of my best friends is a guy, and he always says that what you said earlier about like we are choosing you. Like let's say you're a 35-year-old guy making good money. You don't have to look at just 30 to 35-year-old women, right? Because you understand, like, the world is yours. It's at your fingertips at this point.
Facts.
Right? Which is different for a woman that same age. It's not the same. We don't have the same. So it's harder, right?
But why is that?
because that's just the nature.
Wow.
It's a real simple.
Like, why would a 35-year-old woman be single up to 35 years old?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
I'm saying,
what decisions did she make to put her in a position to not be married by the time she was?
Well, I mean, we could even just say for me personally.
No, we don't know. We don't want to be personal, so we want to think it's general. Because there's a lot of women that's 35 is single, not just you.
And I'm going to tell you, I can tell you why there's a lot of women. Because in my office specifically, right, social work, for the most part is mostly a female job. Is because there was infidelity, there was abuse, they were not equally yoked. The males that they have come into contact with didn't have any of those 3 Ps or anything else. And so that's what happens time and time again. And then now you look up, you're 35, you may have a kid or 2, but you're not married.
Let me ask you a question. You say you do social work.
Yes.
Just as a clarification, these people that you work with, you know these people intimately?
The ones that I've worked with for a decade, yeah. Okay. I do.
Okay, so are you willing to say that from their story standpoint, that that you 100% understand that it's not their fault that they're in that position? That the men they dealt with really and truly caused whatever problems they were having. You just know this to be a fact.
What I'm going to say is that it's a two-sided thing, because when we talk about fault, is it fault? Yes, I don't really know if that's the right word, but the person that they chose to be with, or the person that they spent
right there
chose.
Right.
So we're going to go with that.
Right. But so here we are, right? So you two are men, right? You two are men. I heard you saying on a different podcast, you were saying that you were not always this man that you are now. You said that you started to eat better, that you started to dress better, like you started to do different things. You evolved as a man, right?
Right.
Now, speaking for your counterparts, right? You guys know how many men, not males, how many men do you know? And thinking about the time frame, think about the time frame of what I'm talking about. I'm talking about from like 25 to 40.
Okay.
And why that's important, because these are the males that these women are coming into encounter with, and that's the problem. And so when you say yes, the ones they chose, but you act as if 80% of the black males that are walking around are black men. And I would hope that if we're going to be truthful, that you would acknowledge that that's not the case. A lot of them are grown boys.
First off, we addressed this somewhere in the past also, but
I'm sure I might have missed that one too.
I just want to say that I would love to read, because some of the ones we went over in the past really should be redigested. But really, here these are demographics. These are statistics. Once again, so because I don't have a problem talking off the top of my head, but I like to be able to fall back and point to factual information when I give out.
I'm sorry. What's your name? Tell me. I forget. You said your name before. What is your name?
Seth. S-E-T-H.
Seth. Right.
Okay.
The dark child.
So
right, because I hear him dark child. I just was trying to remember what he said.
Yeah. Oh man.
The name matters. That's why I say it, because you have to understand.
Man, if you really see the darkness I spread for a little while when I was really in my hurt phase after my divorce, I earned that time. Intelligent.
But it's not there no more. But continue what you were saying, though.
Intelligent and bitter is a bad combination.
Right.
But anyway, statistically, a lot of the women, I'm gonna say this, I don't know these people, but black men, on the most part, 54% of black men don't have any kids at all, right? A lot of these mothers who have children have the same baby daddies. It's a certain set of dudes out there populating the whole community. And
facts.
Most dudes ain't even getting in on this game. So if let's say you got Keisha, Erica, Jamie, and Terry all have babies with James. James is a D. Big, D. Okay? And I mean as a negative. Well, if James is beating on women, he's probably beating on all 4 of them. But for the most part, most men ain't out there doing what this guy is doing. 61% of all black men are actually making $30,000 to $40,000 or more. Yes, I'm listening.
You didn't answer my question. You tried to deflect the con?
Okay. Deflect the con.
I'm sorry. Restate your question.
So here's what I'm asking you and the Wink. How your environment in your lifetime, from the age of 25, I don't know how old you are now,
39.
But from 25 to 40, how many or how often did you run into guys that you would say these are men? I'm not talking about in statistically. I'm saying for you, your own personal experience with other black males.
Okay.
Honestly,
I got married at 29. I stayed married for 14 years. Both of my best friends were married at the same time. At the time I got married, every dude that I considered my friend except one. Now I don't have a large circle of friends, but out of about 6 or 7 of us, only one was unmarried, and I could understand why. So yeah, but now all of us have been divorced multiple times. I've been one time. For me, I'm good, but every single one of my friends who got divorced, I got 2 kids and an ex-wife. We all got divorced with the same reason and reconcilable differences, right? Every one of us was cheated on. Every one of us cheated. So there ain't no angels here. I'm not trying to blow smoke, but cheating isn't why the relationship broke up. Most of the time, the ladies decided that the relationship wasn't in their best interest anymore. I'm good with that. You know what? If you ain't happy, the problem being is that every single one of us to this day is paying child support or spousal maintenance to another person. So even though the relationship didn't stay together, we did do it. I followed the blueprint. It was get married. I got married before I had kids. The person who I got married to, well, I realize now that I was just pretty much a Hail Mary for a 30-year-old woman who wanted to have babies, because once we made kids, our relationship went straight down. So it's not that, he beating on me. I to this day, and I probably would call 100 people good acquaintances, with only 10 people I'd actually call my friend. Good. I do not know one man who's an abuser. I don't know one man. I don't know one dude who I consider a good acquaintance that puts hands on a woman in his life. And we talk. So where are all these people who are laying hands? I don't know, because
there's a lot of them.
No, there's not a lot. The ladies.
There is.
No. When all the women are sleeping with James and James is an abuser, all the women think that they're being abused by the same dude. Okay? Because if you had got with Lee and you had got with Eric and you had got with Jeff, you probably wouldn't have got abused, but James whoop ass.
Okay, so the question that I asked was, in your environment, because you spoke about growing up in the hood, and you said that you encountered a certain type of female, right? And you said that you said that you have seen women in the neighborhood behave a certain way. So I'm asking, in that same neighborhood, in your same lifetime, have you encountered more than not real men? That's what I'm asking.
Yes.
Because what I'm trying to point out to you is that in most of our environment, not most, and to people that I know, a lot of the males that women have come in contact with have not been men, right? So yes, they are choosing people who are not capable of providing whatever it is that they want for themselves or for their kids.
Okay, so you asked your question.
Yeah.
So that's part of it, right?
Wait, because we want to unpackage it as it goes. Don't forget, I apologize for interrupting, but I don't want to move off of that. In my personal experience, I was born in 1974. Okay.
Okay.
This is right after my mom's moved into the projects when I was 2. She was unfaithful to my father, and I had a little sister a year later from a different guy, which caused my actual father to leave. But he wasn't a good guy anyway. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been living in the projects, right? Now, with that being said, in the projects, my actual experience, my uncle, well, I'm hard to call him uncle, cousin. He was real blood, but whatever. He was living with the lady next door, right? She had a kid. He stayed with her until she passed away a few years ago. They had an additional 5 children. My best friend at the time, his stepfather, once again, because she had kids when he moved in, he stayed and he took care of my best friend's mom until he passed away. Okay, so when I got married, I proposed to my first girlfriend at 22. I had my threesomes. I had foursomes. Anyway, I didn't have a whole bunch of fantasies left to go through at 22. Okay. I'm keeping it real, but I want you.
But you dancing though. I'm gonna keep it real with you that you're dancing, because what I'm asking you is a very straight question. And if you grew up in the hood like we grew up in the hood, right? The 25-year-olds, the 29-year-olds, the 30-year-olds were not all stand-up guys. They were ones that were slinging drugs. They were ones that were doing criminal things. You had some that was beating on women, cheating on women. Like so that's what I'm asking. I'm asking not just for you personally.
I've been dancing. I apologize. Okay, the real talk is
I'm asking not you personally. I'm not saying your homeboy. I'm saying in your environment, the people that you could see.
I know. I agree.
You know what I mean?
No. I want, and I apologize. I was giving you all this anecdotal trying to prove that I was a good guy. You're right. No,
you are. I know. I got that. You didn't have to do that.
Time out. So yes, because my brother-in-law at the time was a big D boy. Okay. And he ran with D-boys. Now, here's the thing. That the guys who were going down that road, they went down that road. Guess who got in the car with him? All the girls who wanted to ride that particular ride.
I agree.
Now, so was there 2 different types of men in the hood? Yes, 100%. The problem is the people like me who got a degree, who got out the hood, who worked their way up, and the other ones didn't get the same play from the people who are your clients that the dope boys did, okay? That the ballers did, because I've never in my life even came close to throwing $1,000 in a nightclub, and I dang sure ain't buying no top bottle at a club. You know what I'm saying? I don't need no top shelf liquor. Give me a beer with the cap on, and I'm straight. I'm not that guy. So the problem being is that the girls and the ladies who want these things from men, even now, what's the basic minimum for a relationship? I'm sorry, what do women want? They want a 6-figure man. But most men are not going to make 6 figures. And you know how hard it is to make 6 figures if you are less than 40 years old? Some people can do it. I'm not saying it. But legally make 6 figures if you less than 35. You ain't doing that legally unless you're a ball player or you got drafted by Konnichiwa Electronics fresh out of college. I started my job making XYZ. Wait, I'm still answering your question because I know I talked about it. I'm sorry. I started my job at XYZ dollars. I've been at my current company for 21 years. I see 6 figures. I know what it feels like to make legally 6 figures and not worry about somebody's money, and I can do my stuff. But the women who got the men that they wanted, they chose those men. But the men who had what they wanted were not the men they should have been with. That's a choice they made. You have to invest in your future. They
agree.
They took shortcuts.
Agree. I agree. I agree with you.
So
I agree with you.
She still has another question to ask, but go ahead.
now I'm just going to say a lot. There's a lot of guys from the age of 25 and 35 that are really good dudes that have good jobs.
They just broke.
They're just not at the point where the woman wants them to be, so they always get overlooked for the baller, the dude drive this car, that, because that's what women are, not all women, but most women are fascinated with.
Mm-hmm.
So these women that pick and choose the wrong guy, and then when the right guy comes around, you want us to be Mr. Capasavo, but you already gave away what I wanted. I mean, I'll give you a prime example. There was girls that I wanted when I was in high school or whatever, but they didn't give me no play. They wanted the superstar player who didn't go to college or nothing. So by the time I got to the point in my life where I'm independent, making good money, no kids, XYZ, they trying to hobby it now. I'm like, nah, I wanted you back in 2001. I don't want you now in 2019, 2018.
Yeah.
I want something fresh and brand new with. So the choices that some of these women make at a young age is catching up to them now when they get in these late 30s. It's not you, but I'm just saying most women. So
I agree.
There's a lot of dudes, because a lot of dudes ain't at the level that the woman want them to be. That's the problem. I'm gonna keep it honest with you. That's what it is. The women don't want the guy who's working and building himself to get to that point. They want the guy who's making that money now, who command energy right now. Women or not, most women now don't want to build with a man. They want to get to the finish line, and that's the problem that we have now. And that's why you have a lot of women right now who's single and have kids because they didn't vet perfect. They didn't vet right. That's what comes down to it.
And they baby daddy got six other kids.
That part I agree with about not vetting right. And I agree that sometimes you pass up on people because you're looking at the wrong things, right? Because that's part of being young, right?
Immature.
And then you get, as your life experiences happen, you say, wait a minute, right? Only thing I will disagree is that women want a made man. After a certain point in your life, of course, you're not trying to raise nobody, right? You can't be like, oh, I want to be a rapper at 37. No, no. So there is going to be stages in life, but a lot of times what you have seen in relationships is not a woman being with a man who has much. So I don't agree that a woman wants that. It gets to a point, though, after a woman has been through that a couple of times where you're like, yes, well, I'm not going down that road again. This is what I want. Just like a man has a certain thing where you're saying what you want. Mm-hmm. So it comes from life experiences. What you will hear a lot of females say, and I mean, there's a whole group of, I have cousins we're all, in the millennial age group. We range from, the 80 millennials and the 90s millennials, but it's all the same. And when you hear the conversation, it's because you want to date, you want to have this meaningful relationship, but the people that you keep encountering, we call them, fuckboys. I'm sorry, that's what they call them, right? Yeah. and that's the reality. You encounter more of them than you encounter men who really have their stuff together. So I was talking to one of my friends, and I was saying, where do women go to meet these men who are established guys who want to settle down, who want to be with us, be in a serious relationship? And where are they? Because the way that, you make it sound as if like women are seeing them and then they're going, nah, we don't want you. I want the guy who's going to mess up my life. And that's not real. Like, that's just not reality. Like, women do not do that. They do not do that. The men who are successful and become a certain place, like where you are, like you said, now I'm good on you, shorty, because now I know that I have a little bit more options than maybe what I had when I didn't have. So now you're not even looking at them.
Okay.
And that's what happens. So it's this conundrum of like this cycle that continues. So then we don't have black families. We don't get black families.
But that's not the man's fault, though.
Exactly.
It's not anyone specifically.
Women. That's why I keep saying women. Women. Women choose who they sleep with.
Facts.
Unless you are raped, and I know.
And we're taking those out. And we're taking those out.
Right. I hope so.
Unless you are raped or physically violated, you chose who you slept with, right?
Right.
Unless you are unconscious in a coma for the entire 9 months, you chose to have that child. Whether or not.
So did you?
No, I didn't.
I'm saying not you. I'm saying men.
No, men don't. Once from the moment they from the moment they roar up in there, that's their last decision that they're going to make about that baby's existence until that baby is born.
When you have sex with a woman unprotected, you are taking a responsibility to have a baby.
Time out. I would love to have this conversation, but I don't want to get sidetracked. But I'll just say that women can choose a Plan B pill. Women can choose to have an abortion. Women can choose to drop the baby off at a fire department in some places without no questions asked. Women can choose to put the baby up for adoption. So, no, ma'am, to think that we're both equally yoked. No, ma'am, I'll never accept that. You have choices after the fact that I do not have. And that is not fair because you can make me a father when I don't want to be one. I can't.
Well, then you gotta make a certain choice, right?
Choices. It's all about choices. So
I agree with you.
Here's where you just said, well, you don't know how to find the men or where that, because the women who made the choices to be your clients per se, they chose that life. Me, okay, let me say real talk. When I graduated from high school, I was riding a bus. Okay, so I rode a bus. I was riding the metro system in Atlanta back and forth. I didn't have a car. When I finally got around to I got me a job. I went to school and I put in a lot of work. Money started coming in, but at this point, I still wasn't a D boy, but I had a little money in game. I started being able to do in my late teens, early 20s, what some guys had been doing since they were 15 or some junk like that, right? I'm 6 years behind the game. Well, women choose who they sleep with. Now, if I come up to you and be like, yo, I'm smart, I'm a hard worker, I'm intelligent, and I will care for you as a woman, and you be like, nah, I need you to have a Chrysler with Dayton's on them. Yeah, but
then she ain't for you.
Wait, but if you give me a
chance, but she not for you.
Wait, no, but that's the problem. If you give me a chance, baby, like they used to do in the old days, we'll build the family, we'll work for it, so that when we get in our 40s, when we get to our 40s, and I'm making six figures, and we've raised our kids, it'll just be me and you. We can get on a plane to Egypt. We can fly to Dubai because we worked together. But now at this point, when you took the easy route and had babies with these do nothing dudes, and you wore out and you got a body count of 280, all right? now that I can afford to take a trip to Egypt, why would I take it with you? You can't give me nothing that I want, and you weren't there to help me build it. So now I'm treating you at 40 the same way you treated me when I was 20, because I ain't have nothing to offer and you treated me that way. Now at 40, outside of what, having a decent job, which I don't personally think women spend money on men, so your job means nothing to me. What exactly do you bring to my life that I can't get from somebody 25 years old
with no kids?
So that's
what I said.
So women.
That's what I said.
So women need, and I got a dating app on my phone right now. I downloaded it for research.
I hope so. For research.
No, I did. I downloaded it because one of the video channels I subscribe to said to do it. It said before you start talking about how women think, you need to see what they want, right? And so you download the dating app, you look at it, and all women want the same thing. You got 45. I mean, this thing matched me up with a 52-year-old woman one time. I was like, my God, she wants the same thing a 20-year-old wants. Why? If I'm really going to give a trip to Dubai to somebody, would I give it to the 50-year-old woman or the 20-year-old woman? Just a question.
But that's a man answer. I'm showing. But that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. I agree. So that's why I'm not disagreeing with you, because that's your truth as a male, and as a female to say that it's your. So a lot of men sleep with women for the wrong reasons, just like women sleep with men for the wrong reasons. So men end up impregnating women that they end up having baby mama drama with, that they have all this stuff, these things going on because they shouldn't have been sleeping with that woman unprotected anyway. And that's the same logic for the women who choose the wrong guys. So it's a fault on both parts. So that's what I was saying, that it's not one-sided. It's a fault on both parts. And now here the kid is. So now let's say you went through that as a woman. You learned, you know what? I'm not doing that anymore. I tried that, the flashy lights, whatever. I thought that was it, but I don't want that anymore. I want someone that's a little bit more together. Now you're looking past her, even though she could really be a good chick for you, because you have another option where there's someone that appears to you to be better. But that doesn't mean that she's better because she's younger and has no kids, because she may be looking at the same thing that lady looked at when she was 25. And that's the problem that men make. And that was my point at the beginning, which is that when you start to have too much access, that's what causes the reluctance to get married and settle down and build real lasting marriages, because you're looking at the wrong thing. Women are looking at the wrong thing and men are looking at the wrong thing. So it can't just be solely the woman made that choice.
So the question I have is, so what is the man looking at wrong then?
A lot of times, the male in those situations, are looking physical. They're looking physical. Even now, you might be more established. You're looking at a younger chick. That's physical.
Okay.
I know that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with looking at physical. What I'm saying is that it has to also, when you're looking at to build a family, you got to look deeper than just the physical part of it.
Time out. I want to unpack that because you hit that nail on the head. When I mentioned that I proposed to a girl at 22, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Physically, yeah, but I was young, right? I knew that I wanted this woman in my life. I was willing at 22 to commit myself to this woman, right? She said no because she was too young and wasn't ready.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Fast forward again to 29, I proposed to a different woman, right? Because I thought, I knew that she was willing to be a partner. But yes, men are 100% physical. No arguments there. 100. If you don't look good enough for me to approach, I'm not gonna do it. So the moment that I say, hey, what's your name? You've already passed the only bar you had to get over to get into my life.
But that's sad.
No, that's not sad because.
But that's sad.
No,
because if you would have vetted your ex-wife better than that, then you wouldn't have been in that situation. No. You said you did it because you said you realized afterwards that what she really wanted was the kids because she was rising in age, right? That's what you said. That she wanted the kids. Okay, couple things.
Mm-hmm. You're right. No, when I met her, we dated for 3 years before she put, in my opinion, there was a certain curtain that I didn't know was there. She played her part very well for a long time. So there was no vetting to be done because I don't know how to psychoanalyze somebody. There wasn't something a private investigator would have found going through her background. But the point being is that for me to, when I met her, she was cute. So I said, what's up? I want to go get something to eat. Way to go. Kept it moving. Same for my first woman I proposed to. It wasn't just her cuteness got my attention. But I'm not some child. You hear me speaking, so if you can't carry a conversation, we can still have sex, and that's the problem. We can still have sex, but if you can't carry a conversation, well, there's no way you're going to get in a position to do me actual harm financially or emotionally, right? But we are wrong, but men are visual. Women don't. Kim Kardashian hasn't spent millions of dollars on her body because she has a sterling personality. Beyonce is beautiful, but if you think Beyonce is 100% the way God gave her, come on, let's be honest. Men are visual. Women are, I don't know, I'm not going to say what women are, but women shouldn't be the same visual as men, but whatever they are attracted to, that's on them. But don't think that it's bad for men. Men are attracted to women, but once we talk to you, I will date a less pretty woman if we come off as friends. If she approaches me and says, "Hey, what's up?" Because it's happened. It's actually happened. I kind of like that kind of stuff. Anyway, if you
never happened.
If you the Bible says if you want something, you have to ask. I can't give you the exact quote, but closed mouths don't get fed. So even if a man is above you physically and you think he's too handsome for you to talk to, most men don't get approached. It's actually very, very, very cute when you approach, but don't be like, "Hey, bro, come on over here and get this drink with me." Don't do that. But at the same time, if you 61% of black men make over $40,000 a year. 61%. That's huge. These men are out there, but I at this point, my relationship status is complicated. It is very complicated towards I don't believe in relationships anymore. I'm pretty much it's $40 on the nightstand because I don't trust women. I don't trust.
So I'm gonna table that because we're gonna do some social work with you on the side. Okay, we're gonna do some social work with you on the side. I got you on the side. Okay.
I think I'm broken there because I've been through too many ups and downs. And at this point,
so then let me stop you. Let me stop you, Seth, right there.
Okay.
What you just said was exactly what I'm saying, right? Mm-hmm. Which is you have had a string of maybe your experiences with females have caused you to have a certain viewpoint, right? But I wouldn't say that you're not. I wouldn't say that you are silly or whatever because you had these experiences. This is just unfortunately the women that were in the environment that you encountered that maybe were not they were not good for you, right? And that's the same experience a lot of women have. Exactly. And it's not a character flaw, right? But it is a reality.
No,
the problem that we always see with the job that I do is that when the babies come as a result, and now the babies are stuck in the middle of this chaos. But but women have the same experience where they meet men who are not men, but males who maybe not have it all together. Mm-hmm. They're not. It's not about finances because I can tell you, if I called 20 females right now, the first thing that they would not say it had to be a certain number as far as income. Where they would say they would want a person to have a good job. You might hear that, a good job meaning stability. Financial stability, but it wouldn't be like, oh, it has to be $150,000 a year. That's not going to be what a lot of women would say. But anyway,
they're forced to lower the standards now.
No, and I'm saying that from a female perspective. A lot of women ride with men that don't have nothing, and they like them, and whether they like their personality or they like how fun they are or whatever. There's a lot of women who date below them, and that's how they end up in this situation. And the minute that you go through that enough times to say, wait a minute, nah. Now it's like you're in a whole nother league of competing because just like you said, now why do you want them? Right?
Let me ask you, and I agree with you. I'm 1,000. Let me ask you a question. Was it last week? Were you on asked about the cell phones? And I said face down on the cell phones with social media?
Yes.
Okay. So now you understand what I'm saying. I work first off, full disclosure, I work in telecommunications, right?
Right.
Okay.
So when you say social media and cell phones, any of that, trust me, I'm very well versed in that area. Here's the problem. Okay. When it comes to the moment I can't remember the 3 P's you said: peace of mind, peace in the home, peace of ass. Those are.
I don't remember them 3 P's.
No,
I thought 3 P's was provide and protect and peace.
No.
Nah.
No, man.
So I messed up. So then I messed up on the lesson.
No, boy, you still go. You still got 3 P's though. So
you
give you
got
credit.
3, but no, peace of mind. Okay. I need to
wait. I thought you said the man has a 3 P's.
No,
that's what I thought you said.
The man wants 3 P's.
Oh, okay. I messed up on a lesson there.
Okay, he wants peace of mind, peace of ass, peace in the home. Those three. If I can find a woman at McDonald's who can provide me peace of mind, peace in the home, and peace of ass, I'm straight.
Yes.
Because, and let me expand a little bit on each one. Peace of ass, real simple. You got to keep me sexually satisfied so that I'm not looking in the street. That's not going to say that's going to stop me, but it's going to keep me from looking. Peace in the home. Once again, I should want to come home. Now, if I have to come home and argue with you, if you're in your masculine energy and I feel like I got to argue with you every night, you're not giving me peace in the home. I don't want to come here. Now, but the peace of mind part, because think of a table with 3 legs, right? You cannot remove one of the legs. Cell phones and social media has removed peace of mind. That's why you can't get relationships. If you find these women that say they want a man and blah 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 blah, fool, you have to be willing to give a man your cell phone unquestionably. If you cannot do that, I cannot have peace of mind. You will trigger my insecurities all the time. And if if you're triggering my insecurities, I don't want a relationship with you. But I will sleep with you because sex is great. Okay? So, I mean, and I hope that explains everything when it's chauvinistic. I don't care if it's insecurity.
I don't think that's chauvinistic.
Well, I mean, but I'm saying I don't care if you feel any of that. Those are those 3 P's are my requirements. Now, how you look in the face, I'll take an ugly chick if I know that she's going to be at home loving me when I come home every night. I don't think I'm God's gift to the world. But I'm not. But also, if your cell phone is face down and your ringer is always off, or you got a lock code with a fingerprint and facial recognition, and if I ask you to let me see your phone, and you pause for a few seconds, I might not say nothing. Most men are not articulate, but you do that, and immediately you've ended your relationship. I don't care how often y'all smile in each other's face, you are ending your relationship because peace of mind is out of the question. And
I understand.
That's why your girls can't find people. They probably entertaining people and still trying to maintain their privacy and personal life. No.
Well, I think if you speak to most women, and that's something that you guys can have another podcast, that a lot of women would tell you that it's that what you're describing, that's what they experience from men. Well, that the phone down. No, what I'm saying is like, so when you say the peace of mind, because women want that too. Women want peace of mind too.
Yeah, but what else you want? Because you don't want the 3 P's, so what else you want?
No, I don't want the 3 P's.
So what? And that's the problem.
Hold on, that's a good question. So what do you want? Hold on.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Because
what do you want?
Yeah.
Not you, but women. But what do y'all want?
New podcast.
I know.
No, don't answer that question. You got to come back.
Yes, you do.
Do a little homework. Talk to some women. Because what do y'all... We want the 3 P's. You can tell your friends, get some feedback. What do y'all want? Y'all want the 3 T's? Time, temper, tapioca? I don't know.
Well, definitely time. I agree. I know it's definitely time.
So, yeah, what do y'all want? Keep it simple.
What do women want? Respect.
Too broad. What you want? What kind of respect you want? Well, I'm putting you on the point, but do a little. Come back. I'm just messing with you right now. Respect and what?
I mean, listen, and this is an old saying: to receive respect, you got to give respect. So,
right.
If you can't respect your man, how are you gonna get something that you don't give to him?
Yeah, don't be talking.
So respect again. Hold on. So back to the main topic. You jumping in a conversation with another man is not respect.
Nope.
Well, that's what exactly it. That's respect. That's not femininity or masculinity. That's a respect thing.
Oh, it's still. Right? I mean, it's still It's in both categories.
Because that peace of mind, you really messed up my peace of mind by showing me that disrespect. It's covered. Peace of mind is huge, and that's lacking.
I mean, hold on. So
no.
Hold on.
Sorry,
no. I'm still on the original topic. I'm still on the original topic. So, So I'm asking you, what are women traits then? What are feminine traits?
Hey, maybe we should do another
No.
We've been on like 3 hours.
No, but we talk something different. No, I just want to know because apparently a man can't have his not his opinion, but what he wants from a female. So what are feminine traits?
I didn't hear you. What did you say?
I said, so you said that men always say what men want from women, right? And I'm saying that a woman's not feminine if she's jumping into arguments with men, right? That's how I'm looking at it. That's not feminine. So my question to you is, what is feminine to you then?
So a feminine woman is a confident woman. A woman who understands and takes the time to understand her role in a relationship. And as I said in the last time you guys were talking, is that a woman understands that the order of things is that a man submits to God. Listen, I'm going to tell you that a man submits to God, and then the woman submits to the man in the correct order of things. Right? That to me is the gold standard of femininity. Because with that, everything else falls in line. There's going to be a certain way that you communicate. There is going to be a certain way that you respect. There's going to be certain things that you may do or act or whatever that falls in line with the correct order of a relationship. It has nothing to do with if you dress this way, if you sit, if you this, if you jump in that, all that stuff that's personal preferences. That's personal preferences. Femininity is your understanding your role, who you are as a woman, and how you relate to the man that you're in a relationship with, and to your children. And with that comes a certain level of confidence. And the confidence, and why the confidence is key, is because if you are a confident woman, right, then you understand that whole word you said in the last time, that submission thing, you understand that. So that comes with that you're not going to show just disrespect, the same way that you're going to communicate, the things that you're going to do, how you're going to act, all that stuff will stem from that. But I can't say it's a blanket thing, because there's a person, the man that I'm with may not care that I might dress sexy. But another person might say, oh, that's not feminine for you to dress that way. That's a personal preference. That's what I'm saying. So I don't want to get caught into those specific things. I think it's more about understanding who you are as a woman and how you relate to the person that you're in a relationship with. That's your femininity, that you are not a man, and how you relate to the man that's in your life, and under the correct order. The man submits to God and you submit to him. That is that. That is femininity, in my opinion. All those other things, I think that's preference.
Okay. So out of everything you said, so confidence and the woman pretty much have to, the God, the Bible. Those are two things. Mm-hmm. So if a woman listens to the show, I know those are yours and your additional, your opinion. Those are yours, but you only gave two things that was feminine. And is that your final answer?
Yes, those are huge things.
Okay.
Those encompass everything.
Okay, so with that being said, a lot of women in this day and age that we're in are not Christianity. Church is no longer a big factor in families anymore.
And men,
I agree.
And men definitely left the church. So if you take away that part, then you only left with confidence.
And what gives you
confidence? No, because you don't have to be a Christian to understand that. To me, that's still the correct order of things. It's not
No, because when into that word comes submit. See, when you bring submit in and bring the Bible in, the only time a woman can use the word submit to her man is if her man is submitting to God. But if the man's not submitting to God, you can't use that word, and then you fall in the fool at that point. That's a fact.
Yes, you can. No,
that's a fact. Listen, I grew up in church. You cannot say submit to a husband if your man's not submitting to God. So that's if you believe. But that's if you believe, like you said, if you believe in Christianity, you believe in that.
Even without Christianity, even if you take Christianity out of it, there's still the reason that a lot of times things fail is because women do not understand what the real meaning of submission is. And so submit to a lot of women sounds like you trying to run me, and men take that as I tell you what to do. I'm in control. And that's not what submission means. And so submission means understanding that what your role is in this relationship. And so in this relationship, the role may be, like I said, that can look different just for the three of us that's here. It can look different in each one of those relationships. In your relationship, Seth, you want a woman that's not going to interrupt you, not going to talk over you, not going to whatever, because that's what you consider respectful or whatever. Whereas that might not be the case for Dwayne.
Well, let me clarify. Submission to me is real simple, doing what I tell you to do. Problem is with that, because a lot
doing what I tell you to
listen
do.
To what I say. Listen to what I say.
Okay.
The definition of submission is the act of or fact of yielding or accepting superior force or the will or authority of another person. Yes, submission is doing what I said do. Now here's the thing though, because people think submission is like you are in prison. Look, these shackles, they were broken. Okay, but let me clarify, because I make a lot of women mad when I say that point. Every village has a chief. Every ship has a captain. Every army has a general, right? But those generals listen to information. They listen to their advisors. Your job is not to be my co-general. Your job is my primary advisor. I may not take your advice, but but let's say you want to go to your grandmother's house for Christmas dinner, or your mom's house for Christmas dinner, and I want to go to my mom's house for Christmas dinner. Well, if I say we went to your mom's house last year, so we're going to my mom's house this year, that's supposed to now, and you be like, no, we are going to my mom's house. What do you do in that situation? Real simple, no extraneous things. Do you go to your mom's house? You go to my mom's house, or do we separate and go separate ways that year? Because it sounds simple when you say submission, but these kind of questions, I have woken up on Christmas morning at home alone throughout my marriage.
Which is a problem.
My wife has done things I didn't specifically. You ever heard of a changing table? You know what a changing table is, right?
Yeah, for babies.
Yeah.
Okay, real simple. My wife was all gung-ho to get a changing table. Guess what I said? No. But guess what she did?
Buy it anyway.
She
didn't buy it. She did something even worse. She called her mama. Guess what happened to guess what was delivered to my front doorstep?
Changing table.
Guess how many times we used that changing table? Maybe once or twice. Guess what I ended up doing with that changing table? Throwing it right into the trash, because it's a horrible piece of equipment. It's a horrible designed item in your house. You're not going to use it. I told her no. She got on the phone with her mama. We ended up with a changing table that I didn't want, but I put it together because I wanted to prove a point. And when I threw it in the trash, I brought it back up to her. But what did she not do in that situation?
Take accountability.
Oh, she didn't submit to my decision.
Of course, that too.
I'm supposed to be your husband. Why if I tell you I don't want this in the house you've spoken to me, so you know full well I didn't just say no without giving you some background. Can you agree with that?
Okay.
So if I tell you something, you probably understand why I said it too, because I talk a lot. So, but she heard everything I said, and then she chose to do something different. That is by definition non-submissive.
Right.
Okay. But it might sound reasonable because we didn't get into no knockdown, drag out fight, and it was just my mama, and I told my mama I wanted it, and she was just being nice, and my mama just wanted her to have it for her grandbaby. All of that, regardless of how you look at it, was non-submissive. You insulted me and you disrespected me, and you implied to your parents that I couldn't provide for my family. But you don't feel like that because
that's true. I agree. I agree with all of that.
That's that piece.
I agree. I agree.
So when we get down to submission, we're not just talking about I'm a general and you need to rush the beach regardless of the guns and the bombs. This isn't D-Day, but a lot of women. Y'all use a lot of words to say one sentence sometimes. I'm a victim of that because I talk too much. But a lot of the stuff we're saying is real simple. it just get complicated because you are even now thinking about how to respond to that statement and just
I agree with everything that you just said. I agree with you. I think that to me, the only thing that you said that kind of threw me was when you said just do what I tell you to do, because that's problematic. But as you added he said it himself. He said that I'm not going to just tell you something without giving some rationale with it, because that is what's the difference. If you tell somebody to just do something because you said, you're going to always run into problems, because it's not a dictatorship. A relationship is not a dictatorship. Yes, it is a partnership. No, and it is.
No, it's not.
To a certain extent, it is a partnership.
But a captain. A boat is a dictatorship, but a captain does what's best for the entire crew.
And like you said earlier, Sherry, there's an order. So the order is the man's the head, the woman's second, the grandma's third, then the kids. It ain't the kids run the house; it's the order, right?
Right. So it's not. So I'm not saying that it's that's not still the order, but you don't. It's not independent. Each one is not independent of the other. That's not how it goes. So it's not you make a decision and you mark the orders down. It's based on what's happening, because just because you're the man doesn't mean you have all the answers. And so if you have to counsel, and I think you said this a little earlier, like, yes, you might be my primary advisor and you need to take heed to some things because you don't know everything just because you are a man.
Exactly.
And you listen.
Right.
And sometimes then you say, okay, I heard you based on what I see, whatever, and this is the decision that you made, and that's the decision. That's how it should go, not just barking orders. So I agree with all of that. I think with femininity, it's like, you mentioned about like being a piece, but all of that. It encompasses all of that. It encompasses like you're the lightness, right? Because and I hate to say it like this because maybe it sounds very trivial, but like the man is like, I don't say heavy because that sounds very like obscure, but you're the lightness. You are the softer side. That's the definition of femininity, right?
You're the yin.
So what that looks like, it varies, and that's my only point. Not that I disagree about feminine and masculine. Obviously, it's two different things, and if you have two masculine and two feminine together, it's going to cause problems, right? So right. I agree with all of that. I just don't I don't think that it's fair to pigeonhole what femininity looks like when it comes to specific traits, because that is problematic, because not every woman is going to fall into that category. Not every woman. It's what's best for you, right? What's going to bring that softer side for you. It may not be the same for every man.
I agree. So Sherry, let me ask you this. So how would you raise your daughter to be feminine?
How would I raise what?
How would you raise your daughter to be feminine? Because from what you said so far, you only said confidence.
That's it. I'm going to raise my daughter to be confident because who she is, she's a female. Who she is as a woman, when you start to raise a girl to be a confident woman, that is feminism. That is what it is.
I mean, that's one key point of it, but there's many things to it. Yes, definitely confidence.
I'm not going to say certain things. I think there's certain things that are proper or improper is what you're kind of getting at. And I don't think that those things are feminine.
I'll say this. If someone asks me, Dwayne, how would you raise your daughter to be feminine? Oh, yeah, I'm going to tell her, make sure she don't spit. Make sure when she sit down, she cross her legs. I'm going to tell her that she needs to be gentle, soft, kind, respectful. Like, those things come out naturally. If you ask me how to raise a boy, I'm telling you he need to be strong, he need to lead, he need to deal with his emotions. These are things I need to be able to tell right away.
See, that's wrong, Dwayne. Because a woman, because a female is strong.
So I'm saying this,
I'm going to say this to you.
So tell my daughter to sit down with legs open is not right?
Listen to what I'm going to say, though. Okay, so I work out. I lift heavier than a lot of the guys that I see in the gym.
Okay.
Okay? I'm a strong female.
Right.
I'm a thick female.
Right.
I'm a tall female. By a lot of people's standards or society, whatever the description of femininity, I do not fit in those categories. Does that mean that I am not feminine? No. That's not. Those are characteristics. Those are traits.
Now, that's your thought process. Because a woman is thick and she work out.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying you said strong, right? You said you're going to raise your boy to be strong. A woman could be strong and feminine. A woman can sit however the hell she sits and it's feminine. She can still be feminine. That is something that you teach that you may say is proper or improper. Those are not feminine. Those are things that you would teach a kid that's proper or improper. I heard someone say, I think that was on Clubhouse, about like, you're not sitting on a man's lap, you're not going to do these things. Like, those things are proper and improper, not feminine and masculine. That's my point. Like, certain things that we confuse are feminine, that doesn't mean that you're not feminine. It doesn't mean that. You spit doesn't mean it's improper. I think if a man spits,
that's not ladylike. That's not ladylike. That's not ladylike.
I've heard that. That's not ladylike.
I mean, it's a fact, though. You could come on. Let's be real here. Let's be honest.
I find okay.
I've heard that women taking shots and women drinking brown liquor is not ladylike. She takes shots like a dude. She drink like a guy. Like, these things are feminine. But what does that mean? What does that mean?
You're taking it all the way. I'm keeping it simple and basic.
Well, no.
A man want that soft gentleness from his woman.
Well,
I agree with you. I agree with you on that.
Well,
hold on. So jumping in the argument when two men having a conversation is not feminine.
No, I mean, but
I need the woman to have that Michael Jackson voice.
See, here's I think
not that. What up, my dog? No, F you. No, baby. This is my fight. You can't be barking loud to me. And I'm talking to this dude. That's the problem I have.
Well,
I got you.
Well, like I said, we should table this because I want to come back to it maybe next Sunday. You can join early and we can just rock that out.
Listen, I got about 3 episodes.
I definitely enjoyed the conversation. I guess, for me, when you, as a woman, we have so many labels put on us. And I had asked when this was a topic that I was thinking about in the car, and I thought this was something good to discuss, and maybe you guys can ponder this. Mm-hmm. Why, where did this whole thing come from of men saying what is considered woman-like or ladylike or womanly or feminine? And, what makes the men the judge of those things when they're not women?
No man, hold on. That's easy. No man wouldn't be with a man. No man wouldn't be with a woman that does the same thing he does.
I agree with that. I understand that.
Right there.
But then when women have all these opinions about what they consider.
What are some of these?
Stop it.
No,
Sherry,
you cannot stop. You've been talking so much. No.
But she's talking.
Oh, here you go. All right, good. I'm sorry, Sherry.
I'm saying because what I said to you in the voice note was that, you hear men talk about, I gave the example of Cardi B and Meg, and listen to the song and how they dress and how these chicks dress and how they dance and they talk like this, they do this. Everything is about what they consider is strikes against your womanhood. Okay. And then, but when do you hear that same energy being given back to men from women? And you really don't. What you hear a woman complain about, of course, is like, relationship stuff. But you don't hear that, why do guys dress like that? Why does a man talk like that? Why is this, everything? That's not masculine. That's not this. That's that. You don't really hear that. And there's a lot of judgment on what is considered feminine and what's considered womanly and what's considered a good woman versus a not good woman. And all of those things, who created that? Where did that come from?
Well, okay, for a lot of that, like who created swag and all that, that's women's opinion about men. Y'all.
No, I didn't say that.
No. You said who created that? A lot of that is based on your opinions to us. Because I ain't never heard a dude talking about I got swag. I don't know who invented, but women.
Soulja Boy,
got a certain swag. Yeah,
you never heard these guys talking about they got drip? No, you never heard that? That's the whole. I can name 15 rappers right now.
I know, and all of them.
I can tell you how much basketball players.
And most of them rappers, we ain't even gonna talk about rappers since 2005. Listen, how about this? Because I love this conversation, but we've been here for hours. Listen, next weekend, put together a monologue. give you the platform. You can. I'm not serious. You can come. We'll introduce. We'll shut up for a couple of minutes, and you can lay out your opinion or something, and then we'll chop it up. Because I like everything we're talking about. We're just jumping so many different topics that, yeah, man, this should be broken down into 15-minute chunks. So next week, seriously, I do this, and I'm loving this, and we can chop it up. But put together your talking points and what you want to talk about, and be prepared to defend it, because we will argue.
I appreciate. Okay.
All right, we can work with that.
I'm good with that.
All right, same bat 3 o'clock next Sunday. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Meet me in the parking lot, 3 o'clock.
No, see, that's not feminine.
You walked right into that one.
I did. I set myself up. Hilarious. But I enjoyed this, gentlemen.
Yes, ma'am. This was so awesome.
Well, Sherry, thank you once again. Hey, listen, everybody, and who is listening now, or who's listening on, when I drop it on a Monday, not this Monday, but on a Monday when I drop it. Please, first off, let's go and show Sherry some support at Body Right on the IG. Mm-hmm. Body Right, just like that. Get your body right. That's who she is, Body Right. Mm-hmm. And I definitely want comments. I want to know your thoughts. I mean, I understand you may not hear the whole thing, and I get it, I understand it. But whatever you hear, please leave some comments, because I like to hear your thoughts, especially from the ladies, because this topic was for the ladies, and I had a lot of DMs and a lot of messages, and I need that same energy I had in my inbox on the comments, whatever, so we can talk about it some more. And I can't wait till next week to have Sherry on the show. You know what I'm saying? Because we definitely need that woman balance, and we appreciate it. Yeah. Trust me, we do.
I mean, as soon as we get merch, you get something.
Let me know. Whatever it is. Hoodies.
All right.
Shirt.
Anything else you want to say, Seth?
Nah, I think I'm hyped up for next weekend already.
You hyped up?
I'm good. Yeah, thank you.
All right, well, I'm out. Hey, Sherry, thank you for calling in. We appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I don't know if you're watching football now. I'm rooting for AB.
I know, that's right.
And Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
So I'm going for both teams.
Nah, go KC. I will never root for Tom Brady.
All right, that's on another topic. Bye. We talk to you later, Sherry.
All right, later.
Bye. 1 second.